And speaking about NXT,
Yes.
like we saw you with Lars Sullivan.
Yes,
we
big
saw
Lars.
you like you were his tag team partner.
Was. Thought we were best friends, but we weren't.
What I'm thinking is that first of all, like how is to work with guys like that, the Street Profits, and second of all, like since as you might know, of course you know it, Lars is that big.
Yeah, he's huge. It's
And
like two of me, roughly.
so like historically WWE always how can I say push guys like that, like
Yeah.
it's thinking about everyone, like even Roman Reigns is like
Sure.
a big argument for everyone. So what are your thoughts about it? What do you think about this big guys situation that have always been on the mouth of the fans?
Right now is the best time since I've been involved. I started training in 2001, first match in 02. And right now, and here where I'm sitting in 2018, this is the best time for cruiserweight wrestlers, junior heavyweight, whatever the hell you want to call us. I think the style of wrestling has changed significantly, since I've been a kid or even started in the business. I think right now a lot of companies want guys with the fast pace. They want guys that have a bit more physical style. So what you're seeing right now is, guys that maybe 10 or 15 years ago wouldn't have gotten the opportunities that they're getting today. So I don't really worry about that. I spent another point in my career when all you saw on television was these giant men, 6'6", 6'9", 10, whatever the hell they were. There was a while where all the major companies were just looking for giants, and I'm never going to be 6'10", but I'm damn good at what I do at 5'7", 180 pounds. And I really feel like I'm one of the best in the world at doing what it is that I do. Kind of to quote Chris Jericho a little bit.
Everyone
But no,
does
I know, right? But it's a renaissance, man. This is the time. The size barriers are gone. You got AJ Styles, who's not a big man. Arguably the best wrestler. A lot of people are saying in America, in the world. Finn Balor's another huge star there. Not a very big guy. Shawn Michaels started changing the game. He's not the biggest man either. I think it's changed quite a bit. It's always going to be a place for big guys because I think fans want to see that car crash of just two big dudes. And there's a place for them. There's a place for everyone. I don't think the industry right now is just going to be dominated like it was, in the 80s and early 90s by gigantic men. I think it's got kind of a place for everyone. Really cool stuff even happening with women now, in the industry that the women's matches have become so good that a lot of times the women's matches on card are better than the men's matches, and women's wrestling really hasn't been seen on the mainstream forefront like it has recently. So I think the same way like the smaller guys are breaking the barriers, I think women are starting to do the same thing. So now anyone can be a star. I mean, the women just main evented the Royal Rumble with the first Royal Rumble. You wouldn't have thought of that, 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. So who knows, maybe 5 years from now, the Cruiserweight Championship is going to headline a WWE show, or, who knows, maybe I'll be headlining WrestleMania. I'll be wrestling Cena, Nakamura, no telling.
Yeah. So that's an interesting way that you're thinking. So if you had to choose one guy, like the dream opponent of yours, the one with him you would like to main event WrestleMania.
Man. So many. I'm terrible at picking just one of things, but I don't know, maybe AJ Styles.
What about Italy? Like, okay, Italian wrestling is not, of course, as big, but it's growing. And if you had to pick one in Italy to have a dream match with,
Dream match.
who do you like to pick?
Alex Flash.
Alex Flash.
I think we've teared up all over Italy.
All right.
Match of the year.
All right.
Right there.
I really hope I will see it. I really hope
me
I
too.
will announce that match.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a dream for me as well. One last thing. You had a match with Sabu.
Yeah.
So what I'm asking is, which one of the old school guys that you have been around, which one are the one that you get inspired the most?
Sure.
And what's the difference between working with old school guys and with new school guys? Like, did something change?
Yeah, it did, and that's a very good question. As far as working with Sabu, that's kind of a cool full circle story as well. When I was a teenager, just thinking about transitioning from Olympic style wrestling to pro wrestling, I absolutely idolized Sabu and Rob Van Dam. I thought Sabu was just the wildest, most unpredictable wrestler. When I first started, I wanted to be just like Sabu. If you watch my work now, you'll probably see very little similarities. Maybe some of the things with intensity, as I don't copy his moves or anything like that. But he was a huge influence on me. So it was really cool 2015 when I got to step in the ring with him. And I think kind of a difference between the old school and the new school guys, it was kind of evident in this match. A lot of the older guys, there's a lot more improvisation in the ring, and I think wrestling is more focused on emotion and storytelling. Whether that emotion you want to get from the audience is just anarchy, like a Sabu match, where you want the people cringing and you want them to think you're an absolute maniac and you want them to believe. When Sabu was in the ring, everything he did, you believed in. I know I certainly did as a fan, and to this day the crowd does. Whereas I think a lot of today's wrestlers, that improvisation is maybe not as prevalent. Now a lot of wrestling you see is more like a play in a way, where we each have our role and you're going to do this, this, and this, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and then we go and put it in the ring. Just, working with a guy like Sabu, and the way that I prefer to have a match is we might have a shoestring of an idea, what we want to get across, but, what we're really focusing on is the emotion and trying to hook the audience as opposed to A to Z. You're going to grab my arm, twist it 2 times, I'm going to fall down, I'm going to pick your leg. So I think the main difference, especially coming from an old school training background like OVW system with Rip and Jim Cornette and things like that, is there was a lot more room for improv then. I always say to people I train, wrestling's like music, it's like jazz. People ask me, can I do this in a match or will this work? You can do anything you want. It's like any other type of music. There's not one brand of music that sells. It's just about how do you make the audience feel by your music, and that's what I try to focus on in my wrestling. How does my wrestling make you feel? Are you invested in me? If I'm the good guy, are you wanting to see me overcome the odds? If I'm getting my ass kicked, are you feeling it with me? If I'm the villain, do you want to rip my head off? There's a lot to it, and I think again a lot of what you see today, especially on more of the independent level and some of the quote-unquote super indie. Nothing wrong with it because I freaking love independent wrestling. I love pretty much everything about the genre of wrestling, but I think it's a lot less improv and emotion and just a lot more, we're going to give them all this stuff we want to do and we really hope they like it. And a lot of times they do, but sometimes they don't. And that's when you'll see a lot of performers maybe struggle a bit. They came up with this whole awesome thing they want to do, and then when they get out there, maybe the crowd's not into it. They don't want that kind of music tonight. So as opposed to being able to change to a different song, you're in there with just one game plan. So, personally, I always like to have an A plan, a B plan, a C plan. If it's not working, change it up. Again, it's jazz. You can, as long as you play the music, you can play whatever you want. So I'd say that was probably the main difference. As far as inspirations, Rip and Marty Jones, my coaches, they've really helped me quite a bit. I'm a firm believer in training and, really learning the history and art of what we do. I'm a total nerd for that kind of stuff. I've literally watched the first recorded professional wrestling match. I'll log 20 hours of wrestling footage a week. So those guys have definitely, from a student standpoint, I've learned a lot from both of them. Jim Cornette was a mentor of mine. I really have a lot of respect for him, and I always, about once or twice a year, I'll call him or message him and just thank him just for helping me along. And he gave me some of my first national opportunities, and that's something I'll always be thankful for. Every time I thank him, he's like, "Oh, you don't have to thank me for anything. All I did was give a good wrestler a job." But it meant a lot more to me, So he's definitely an inspiration of mine. Then just like far as guys I watch, Bret Hart, Dynamite Kid, those are probably some of my wanting to be a wrestler. Those guys are probably some of my bigger influences or inspirations.
Sorry, man, but your speech about this comparison between wrestling and jazz totally blew my mind. Because I think that's really the point of a little bit what is missing right now.
Could be.
And I really hope you can succeed your mission and bring back always more that emotion, just like Randy Savage and Bret Hart. And we really thank you for this interview, for all your words. You've already been very helpful for us. It's been an honor, and
awesome.
Hope you'll see you again.
Yeah, I hope to be back soon. I love this place.
Ladies and gentlemen, signore e signori, the psychedelic superstar Chris Silvio.
Peace.